main villain are one of the two people who are like recurring like actors inside of that TV series. And because of that TV series, it's like the guy is like they've made like the whole persona of the characters, and it's like, oh yeah, the guy with his wife from Brazil. Wait, his wife is from Brazil? Yeah, I just don't know. It's just a thing that they have as it's part of his character. His wife was from Brazil, and he's died twice. Well, sure, okay, I guess. And afterwards, like his wife comes in for his funeral, and he's just like dancing on top of his grave, on top of his casket, and like you're trying to, and the whole point is that you're trying not to laugh. But if you were in that situation, you would laugh without a doubt, right? Because that's just hilarious, and that's the reason why I know that. That's why I know that this film, this Tokyo Gore Police, is definitely a comedy or a satirized comedy because of the actors that are in this film. It's goddamn hilarious.
I think you've already got a challenge from Alec.
Yeah.
Fuck you. God.
I don't have to say anything now because Simon's already said what I said.
Have we started properly?
I suppose we'll wait for Ben and Emmanuel.
Not officially.
Oh, you've started to record already, though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've started streaming, but that's just
Oh, okay.
Last week he he left 20 minutes of me just fucking playing on my DS on the record.
Oh yeah. Boy, yeah,
20 minutes of me fucking picking my nose and farting. And then one point I sneeze, and it's quite funny.
There was a bit where you break the full four, and I thought, well, it would be a shame to edit that out.
I thought it was just going to be you watching it. I was like, I'm not actually picking my nose, I am just scratching it. And then I like scratch it, and I scratch it, and I keep scratching it, and I'll scratch it for like an uncomfortable amount of time.
This is no longer something I can deny.
Objection.
I was just like, Rob will get rid of that in post. No, he left it all in.
It did make for Pat's longest video yet, though, at 2 hours 50.
2 hours 50.
I gotta say that was a fantastic opening statement you did. No one's seen it, so it's a safe bet. But I was feeling adventurous. And the thing with my films is that you don't really think about them much, which is why you'd expect to see this one on my film pick list, because you have to think about it. And then John went, "You mean you wouldn't expect to see it on there?" And he went, "No."
Pat, you still look a bit traumatized from it.
I'm just really tired.
Was that a Pat comment?
Watching Men in Black International.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, you bought the DVD for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can say it's this: you're supporting the movie industry.
The movie industry would be unrecognizable without Pat's influence.
Yes,
He keeps them afloat. He keeps them afloat with his money.
Yes. Buying all the DVDs and merchandise.
They're looking at it and they're like, no one's going to buy the DVD of this. And then in comes Pat. Comes behind him.
Who are we sponsored by this week now?
We're sponsored by Durex because someone fucked up, right?
Could you imagine Durex approaching us to fucking promote a condom?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, it'll be a great advert because you don't want any of these guys to be the father of your children. They'll be fine.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
I was going to go with these guys don't need condoms because they're not having sex, but you are.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, we're drinking. So how have your guys? How have your guys' week been?
How are your guys?
You know, I mean, certainly different for having watched this.
Yeah.
I had to get this out of the way as soon as possible. I was like, I'm not watching it twice.
Yes.
I'm watching it one
Wait.
time, and that's it.
Wait. Quick question: how many people watched it subbed, and how many people watched it dubbed?
I watched
Oh,
it.
I watched it
it
subbed.
dubbed. I got about 10 minutes in, and I thought I should probably try and find the subs. And then I thought, there's no point.
I didn't realise it was the one I had, the version I linked. I didn't realise it was dubbed, and it makes it more hilarious because it's so it makes it just so fucking comical.
More hilarious. Get out of here.
Well, it makes it hilarious because it's fucking dubbed, and it's just so. Oh,
Sounds like a distinction without a difference, but okay.
Well, I feel like if it's in the like dub, right, the English voice actors would have to have watched it and went cringe. I guess I have to make it sound a bit normal, but like that's why like that's why I watched it subbed, and I was like, oh right, yeah, because they're just like, because those actors know that they're in a shitty production, right? They're just like, you got full seriousness about it, but it's like yeah, it's not a great movie anyways. So yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's
Do you
a
remember
very good point,
going, like,
actually.
Jim, what's my motivation in this scene? And he's like, you have a giant penis gun. That is your
Yeah,
motivation in the scene.
That's so true, because like when I was watching it, I was like, why do they always hire like the shittest voice actors that they can find? But I don't know. I mean, you can only do what you've got in front of you, right? So, so
I
maybe
mean, like,
it's not their fault.
well, that's not like 100% true. Have you ever heard of the anime called Ghost Stories?
Ghost stories. Don't
Yeah,
think so.
it's essentially it's about. Okay, this is like going on a tangent, but it's fine. You understand the point. Essentially, it's this. It's about a bunch of school kids who are in like this old like sort of school, and they have to go through like several encounters with ghosts and how to like beat the ghosts, right? But essentially the production for it from Japan was so bad. Essentially, they gave the Japanese company gave it to the English voice actors and said, "Yeah, just like do whatever you like, right?" And like essentially, the voice actors they're in the cubicle, and like whoever gets to the mic first can decide what the story is like. Essentially, there's like one of the characters is a girl who's 8, but she's a Republican. And like one of the boys is just like retarded. It's like the original story isn't great, right? But the fucking dub of it in English is so goddamn hilarious. It's like one of the quotes. Okay, this is like not me being racist. This is an actual quote from
Alex,
the actual show. It's like, I can't be with you. I can't be with you. Not because you're a ghost, but because you're black. It's like,
Christ.
what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? I guess that's like, I can't believe this was an actual dub. But it's the actual dub essentially because the voice actors went, fuck it, let's have some fucking fun.
Oh man.
We've just been cancelled.
Yeah, but like it doesn't. But like I'm quoting the show. I'm quoting the show. I don't think it matters too much, right? But it's such an amazing show, right? That I just can't believe that it got made. But like essentially, they said, "Yeah, go on, just do whatever you like. It's funny, whatever. I don't care, don't care at all."
to be honest, to be
Bionic.
Bionic.
To bionic.
To be honest, Pat's nonce counter is pretty high. So yeah,
I mean, yeah.
it doesn't matter what you just said.
And I didn't say that this time.
So
Actually, I haven't said that for a number of weeks.
So carrying on with the nonce theme. So I follow a group on Facebook of people that go to
Jesus
download.
Christ.
Non-scope.
They go to download festival, and someone had posted all these pictures of graffiti in the toilets, and one of them was Prince Andrew is a sweaty nonce. And I'm just like, fuck's sake.
That old chestnut.
So you know, Cunt and the Gang. So
Yeah,
they
Sorry, what?
so they released a song called Prince Andrew is a Sweaty Nonce. And
Yeah, I heard
there's
this.
a meme where like it's basically them singing it on stage, and it's that it's the meme templates from The Simpsons, and it's like Mr. Burns and Smithers are watching them. And it's Mr. Burns saying to Smithers, have Cool and the Gang
I missed the end of that.
Sure. Do as I say.
Oh man.
Oh, have you guys seen the manual scores?
Oh,
Oh,
They're coming in now. They're coming in.
Oh, fuck me. I can't.
what's,
Well, it looks like there's only 2 people that have scored it above 1.
oh really? Is it that good?
Oh dear.
I thought. Wait, has he scored only one? Give me a second.
One's for everything except for production so
Where are
far.
these fucking threes coming from? What's
Oh,
wrong?
some of the camera angles were nice.
No, they're not.
Some.
They were. Some of them were all right.
No. The reason why the production has a slightly higher score is because someone had to spend time making this phallic gun and other random nonsenses, and you have to give them
Nonsense.
points.
All I heard
Because,
was,
like,
was phallic.
Some kind of like editing.
someone had
bloody
to
hell.
spend time to make all this prosthetics, right? And like you have to give the credit to the person who made the prosthetics because they were rather well made.
You
No,
know what, actually?
Oh.
Fair play, Dan. Because when I was watching it, I was like, how the fuck are we going to talk about this? But we're doing it. It's-
But I've got so much to talk about.
Simon, I'm all for giving credits where it's due, but fuck a fucking 5.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay.
I can't lie.
There's only one good thing in the production I liked, and I'll tell you later.
It was crocodile butt, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't the
That'd be quite
crocodile.
revealing then.
To be honest, I was
No,
very
that's why
tempted.
someone gave it 5. We know that.
No,
I love
okay.
crocodile butt.
Well, it's not even that. All right, I'll explain to
It's
you
not even
about the
Can't do
beginning.
that.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm explaining to you. Because essentially, there was the beginning scene where essentially that she was walking into that car park, and it's all sort of creepy and dark. And afterwards, it's like, "Hey, happy birthday!" Right? And it's like, "Oh, okay, weird." But then there was a lady. Okay, I can't believe I searched this, but I'll tell you what I searched.
Oh,
There's the lady
Oh, fuck.
who was like the police chief's like pet, right?
Oh yeah,
Because she had no arms and no legs, right? And I was like, weird. I want to see if there's like a GIF of this, right? So I searched. I can't believe. Okay, essentially, this is not the exact words, but essentially what was latex lady with no arms and legs, and there's a porn fetish category for that. Do you want to know what it's called?
Now.
Do you know what it's called?
definitely
It's
gonna
called,
be
it's called nug porn.
A nut porn.
no.
Nug,
Like,
like
Oh.
NUG.
I
And
meant to
Like-
say knobhead porn.
No.
Went to say nug,
Like-
but he said nug instead.
No, like nugget, like chicken nuggets. Nug.
Yeah, the chicken
Oh,
nuggets.
yeah.
I'm really glad
Yeah.
that you can't search just BDSM quadriplegic porn. That's good.
Yeah, but because they shorten it down to nug porn, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is a fetish.
So
Should
can
I
everyone
click
just
the
take
first?
everyone
should
just
I
take
click
note of
the first
Humphrey's
link?
face
No?
right now? There's a cringe he is doing. You
Wait,
inflicted this on us.
I know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have ever searched that without watching this film, to be honest. Yeah, but because I watched this film, I'm like, weird. Let's have a look at it. And I was like, should I click the first link? I was like, no,
Maybe not.
I guess I don't need to. But like, I could click that first link, but I didn't. Thank God.
If Simon disappears at any point during this call, we know he's been arrested.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, right.
Oh,
no.
Emmanuel was traumatized.
He's like, I'm not your friend anymore.
I chose Antichrist, but even Antichrist was fucked up.
Well, it was one of the reasons why I picked this film, because it was.
You wanted Emmanuel to quit?
Oh no, I wanted to outdo him on the horrible film front.
You wanted to outdo him, basically.
Like,
this is one advantage of Emmanuel watching it right before the call, is we get like a real life reaction.
I am on tenterhooks because I don't think he's actually put his enjoyment score in yet. And
no, it's in there.
Is it?
Is there a one?
It's in there.
Wait, let's check.
Is there a one?
It is a 1.
Yeah.
I gave it the third highest score, and I gave it 1.4.
Right, so hang on. This is actually like this is unprecedented. Okay, so just for everyone watching at home, the highest score was Humphrey with 6.5, which is fucking insanity.
Well, I was generous.
The generous.
Oh, that's an overstatement.
And I get abused for liking fucking Men in Black International.
Don't you get started? The second to last highest. No, sorry, the second highest score was Simon with 2.5.
I'm telling you guys, you're misunderstanding the concept of this film.
The third highest.
It's a comedy.
The third highest score was Rob with 1.4. The fourth highest was Emmanuel with 1.3. The fifth highest was Ben with 1.1. And me, John, and Pat all gave it just straight 1. With an overall of 2.
But even
single-handedly stopped this being last overall.
Oh, what is the last?
And even then, the biggest takeaway from this is me, John, and Alec agreed on something for once.
Yeah.
Did you say
unanimous?
Stop it from being last?
Yeah.
I'm going to put my actual story score then.
He wants to be last.
You should be putting your actual story score anyway.
Yeah, you should. Like, I honestly gave it my scores like that because I thought the comedy side of it. If you can't just make scores up, or you can make scores up, but you can't just suddenly change the score.
Well,
it's the point.
My original score for it was going to be 2 for story, but then I was like,
okay.
Do I give it a bit more? I'll give it a bit generous, and then I'm like, no, actually.
Dan, if it's a 2, give it a 2. Don't just masquerade it.
The only reason I give it a 2 for story.
That's ridiculous.
There was some kind of story in it somewhere.
Didn't see it.
Was there?
Right, hold on. Let's get into it. Also, even if you drop your story score, you're still somehow not below Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which I think is a crime.
Wow.
I think this is brilliant, man. Back to back, you're challenging for the top and the bottom of the leaderboard.
Damn.
I feel like I have to pull some really bad shit when I pull out my other movies.
Oh
to
no!
get this very low score.
Sake.
Damn it, Simon!
Right.
Before
There's
we
so
get
many
started,
good films out there.
Before we get started,
okay, I'll do it in levels.
Before we get started,
okay.
Emmanuel, are you all right? You've had the most recent contact. Are you feeling okay?
We've gone back to back with this and Old Boy, and Emmanuel's questioning life.
Yeah. It makes Old Boy look like fucking Sound of Music.
He has unmuted himself to.
He invites you to his wedding and you give him this.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
You know what? The only credit I can give it is like the only reason I gave it 1.5 for story is because at the end I was sat there like, somebody thought of all of this. Somebody thought, let's put a snail woman in a film with a woman with a shark vagina.
And on that segue, Dan, why did you pick this crime against humanity?
I was waiting. So basically, I picked it because I saw, I think it was a YouTube video, and it had like the top 10 worst body horror films, and one of them was this film, and they said it was like completely like bonkers and like really awful. And then I was thinking to myself, oh, I've got foreign film round. I'm like, I want to outdo Emmanuel, because every foreign film he's picked has been like, what the fuck is this? And yes, I've never seen it before, and I probably won't see it again. What got me, and it was literally what Rob said earlier on. It starts with a bloke going, and his head explodes, but it's really bad CG. It's like really shit model. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And then when it got to the bit in the club, I was just like, yeah.
Are you sorry?
What?
Are you sorry for picking this?
No.
Yes is the answer. You should be.
No, because it's going to cause a debate. We're definitely going to have a chat, but fucking hell, yeah, it's just so fucking grim. But there was bits I liked, and there's definitely bits that I didn't like at all. And one of the bits was I don't know if you noticed this. You probably did, because you watched the film. But there's the bit with the two blokes near the end, and there's one of them he looks like black, but I'm like, is this? Oh, I don't know. Me and Cole was like, this is wrong.
This is offensive prosthetic blackface.
Yeah, we're like, have they just done this? Like, no, they haven't done this, and it's just so awful. And that was kind of the bit I really didn't like about the film, other than the fucking chair, the woman,
horrendousness,
woman. But yeah, that bit, it didn't really sit well, even though the rest of it was just it was completely stupid and like nasty. But that bit was just like, did they really do this? Like, most other films wouldn't even stoop that low, but I don't know.
I feel like I understand the situation with the film, right? But I don't really think that was like blackface is what you're trying to say, right?
Well, it kind of was, because the person had like wider nostrils. They was physically darker, and then and he said, "Oh, I like to kill Japanese people."
Yeah, because okay, this is the point that I was. Oh, wait a second.
If you're about to defend this, I'd just say pick your battles.
No. Because like the point is, I wouldn't say defend, right? It was the point that it's like it was how to explain it. It's like, because they were portraying two particular types of people. One of them was like Chinese. I realized, oh yeah, he's supposed to be Chinese because he's wearing that sort of like East, like Chinese hat with the little like silken thing. And the other guy I don't think he was supposed to be black, but I don't know what he was supposed to be. I don't think he was actually supposed to be black though. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know what the point of it was, but I guess that it looks kind of bad, right? But I don't think he was supposed to be black. Is what I'm trying to say. Because there's been like actual like things like that, which are actually kind of like that is kind of like, how to explain it, that have actual blackface, but I don't think this was one of them. If you get what I mean.
Shall we get into personal statements?
all right. Okay. All right, Dan. What did you think of this film? Or why?
No, have we done that?
What? I just said about.
It sucked.
Well, Simon, you seem pretty excited, so you can go.
No, come back to me later.
For fuck's sake.
Just saw some hairy legs.
Some hairy legs?
Yeah, Emmanuel just stood up.
Robert.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Robert.
Oh, am I going first? Am I? Fucking hell, where do you start? I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's the closest I've come to not finishing a film club film.
Oh, wow.
So maybe I should put impact up a bit. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I was saying to the others, it's basically just like a compilation of gore for no reason. Like, you've kind of got like little bits interspersed with like exposition, but it doesn't seem relevant to anything that I could tell. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that somebody would watch it and go like, "No, you're all missing something. This is a masterpiece." But yeah, I really, I don't, I don't know. I don't get it. I think.
I don't know. It kind of. I think it was going for that. What's the word? Simon was saying it.
Garbage.
The satire.
Oh.
Aspect of, like the way he grabs her ass and he's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean to," and she cuts his hands off. It's kind of, it's like hyper satirizing the whole. I don't know, that culture.
Satire is the word you think it is.
Yeah, it is. But like with all the adverts that just randomly turn up, and I was watching a review on it, and the bloke says like these adverts, you don't know whether they're part of the film or not, because they just come in and they're just really, they can be quite jarring, but they kind of, they don't really segue into it. They just kind of start and you're like, what the fuck? And then it's advert, and then you're like, okay. And then it happens again a few times and you just like, what? But yeah, like the whole film is completely disjointed. Like, it is just a fucking, we can make a film and we're gonna do some batshit crazy shit, and that's it. And that's what they did, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. To be honest, it's essentially what I was to make a quick short summary about this. This is not the horror sci-fi action film that everyone thinks it is.
No one's under that impression.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, sure. But it's okay. You guys have to imagine that this is more like a comedy satirized film, like not another teen movie or disaster movie. It's making fun of the typical horror action films that you see in Japan, and especially with that half of the actors that are in this film are comedians. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's a comedy film, and it's a stupid comedy film, like not another teen movie or disaster film. And they're kind of bad, but this is just worse kind of bad. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Who wants to go next for their personal statement? We got me, Pat, Ben, and Emmanuel.
Alex.
Well, what Emmanuel just finished it, so I kind of want to hear his fresh take on it.
Okay.
Is that a lolly to cool down?
Yeah.
This guy, this director has problems. He has issues.
Said Emmanuel.
I like the fact he didn't say me. Picking the film.
You didn't see it before. So, and to be honest, it had a 5.6 on IMDb. And
that's something I want to talk about, actually.
There's not much trivia, but point is, looking into his history, I'm not surprised he made this. But I'm just why? There's so many things that shouldn't have been done in this film. Yeah.
For example, what?
Look at how fatigued he is.
It's just like they made a lady into a chair. Fucking hell.
We'll get into it. This is just the intro.
That lolly is the only thing keeping him going. He's holding on to it for dear life.
It's already melted.
Right. We've got 2 early adopters and 1 late adopter.
I choose Pat.
Yeah, go on, Pat.
Pat's like, "Oh, fucking shit."
Well, and you said that you did some research and it was like one of the top 10 body horror films.
Well, I don't say top 10. It was like most disturbing.
I mean, the body horror was terrible. like Rob was saying it the other day. Like, you could actually see the hoses every. I mean, like it was edited so bad. Like, if the editing was better, you could probably believe it to be one of the worst sort of body horror films. Until you changed your story score, I was trying to rack my brains. How did you get a 5 for story? Like, I'm struggling to work out how people give it 2 for story, or someone gave it 1.5. Even then, that's a bit high.
Literally, it's the point for effort from me.
I got about 25 minutes in, and I wanted to stop the film.
Yeah, I had to convince him to keep with it.
Yeah, like, I struggle so bad because it was like
Pat,
it was.
But Pat, you would have missed the snail lady.
I mean, I don't think it made my life any better that I saw. So,
man, I'm so glad I picked this now because it's such a fucking.
Honestly,
experience.
I got 55 minutes in. I looked at the time. I was like, I'm only halfway through this. I didn't think I'd be able to get to the end. I wish I didn't get to the end. If this wasn't a film club film, it would have gone off after 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the sentiment that most of us share.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, like, it was mutilation for mutilation's sake. No semblance of a story. Acting was abysmal. I mean, you could put the 7 of us in that and we'd give it a higher acting score. Like, I don't know where they got these actors from.
If the 7 of us were in it, then fuck me, that'd get a 10 for enjoyment from me at least.
Yeah.
There's like, at first I gave one of the categories a 2, I think, and it was for 2 different reasons. Because I wanted to differentiate it from another film that I find grotesque to its existence, and I can't remember the other reason. I ended up dropping it down. Like, I think this is like the 4th film that I've given straight ones.
The 4th? What are the other 3?
Antichrist, The Room, and Shark Boy.
Okay.
And they're all terrible for their own individual reasons. I mean, I think actually I remember, like, I put Purpose at 2 because it was a film that knew it was bad and wasn't going to shy from it. But I thought, why am I going to reward it for being shit? Like, I've honestly never thought of a time where I've wasted so much time in my life. But that 2 hours was that 2 hours made me want to go to work.
Or you thought you were going to say maybe want to go toilet.
I'm sure it did as well.
What I'm learning from this is we should pick films that Pat hates more often, because this has been quite good.
I think that's all I have for now. I'm dreading Simon's bad picks now.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Like, the generosity has levels. So I'm gonna pick a film that's it's kind of bad, not too bad. Then it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. So I'm gonna fucking savor this because this is quite bad. I feel like I have maybe 1 or 2 movies that are kind of just as bad.
Well, you have your yardstick.
Yes, I have the bar. The bar's on the floor. Can I go lower? I don't know.
Alec, your face still.
What?
Well, Emmanuel stood up. And the change on your face was hilarious.
I think our lady viewership might have gone up. Right.
Oh, dear.
Ben, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? Up to you.
You go first. I'll gather my thoughts.
Okay. So it's really, really, really clear to me that the SFX came first.
Yeah.
And everyone got really, really excited about all the SFX they could be doing. And then eventually it kind of dawned on one of them that one of them would have to write a story to put it all together. And I don't think any of them knew how to write. I think they all knew how to do SFX.
If that.
And they're not equivalent. When I started the film, I thought it'd be quite funny because the lady has to get to the top of a skyscraper, and she does this by putting a bazooka against the ground and firing it, and then it launches her to the very top of the skyscraper. And I was like,
Yeah, that's called rocket jumping.
I was like, this is hilarious. This is going to be good. And it just kind of never reached that dizzying peak again. It just by the end of it, I think there were scenes that I think I was supposed to, I don't know, be grossed out by or laugh at or be offended at, and I just felt nothing. And I was like, this is kind of your whole reason. This is sort of your whole bread and butter, is you're trying to do like SFX that's like surprising and gory, and I'm meant to go, oh god. By the end of it, I'm just like, yeah, go on then, yeah, go and ship. I'll get takeout in. Fuck it, let's go. And I was just munching away, just watching all this gore, and I was like, yeah, no, all good, carry on, no biggie. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest indictment I can give for this. Like, for Tokyo Gore Police, you made gore fucking boring.
Yeah, because it isn't really like, well, I say disgusting. It's just so over the top. You just think. Saying that, I watched Hellraiser just after it, and I was like, this film's very fucking boring. I was like, oh, I really like this film, and I'm just like, nah, it's a bit slow.
Right. Right. There's worse things than slow.
Well, I'm moving that from my list then.
Oh no, keep it on.
I wish I didn't, like, I could have eaten earlier.
Oh really? Did it have an effect on you?
I was just about to eat when the guy was eating the worms on the metro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
gross. Yeah.
None of it got me. Like I was saying earlier, this is the first film that we've had to feature genital mutilation where I haven't winced. At that point, I was just like, yeah, just chuck it on the pile.
Yeah, like none of the gore stuff was that bad. It's just a bad film.
Well, you
just
compare it.
every time it happened, I was like, I don't know. It was like I could feel the film going like, "Hey, look at that," and I was like, "Yeah, it's there."
Compare it to like Evil Dead, where you have scenes where characters are like fearing the consequences of injury, and like that's quite a lot of it. It's all just anxiety, just building and building and building. So then, when someone gets a pencil in the ankle, you're like, "Oh fuck!" None of that is in this. Like it's just all ridiculous all the time, and you're just fucking numb to it by it. This is fucking 2 hours long. By the time it hit hour and a half mark, I was like, what have we got to cover left? Like, what else needs going over? Like, I get it. Well, why are we here? What are we doing? And yeah, it was just after about an hour of just straight crap gore, I was like, yeah, cool.
I mean, it kind of like, because we was talking about that first 10, 20 minutes of the film, like you can see a guy get his head like sawed in half with like a chainsaw, you kind of knew what you were getting to, what of the film, right? It's like, yeah, this is a bit shit, right? But it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, but like I'm watching it, might as well finish it. Like I just want to see how worse it could get. But like, that's the way that this film is.
It's not like funny though. It's just.
Well, it is. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. Let Ben go for his opening statement about this film. Then I'll explain what I need to explain.
What is there to say that hasn't already been said? Really?
I knew you'd do this. I see your ploy all along.
Honestly, but I think I remember what was it, a month or so ago when Dan hinted at this film, and he said to me, or all of us, that it's like RoboCop, but with horror, with gore and blood and all that, and it's like, if it was something like that, I probably would have been more. It would have had a more of an interesting idea. Say like if RoboCop wasn't a cyborg, he was as a zombie or something, and he was killing other zombies or something. That's an interesting concept. But this film had none of the interesting concepts that like the classic RoboCop had, or in any old slasher horror movies of the years past. Like, and I know Rob's planning to pick some really iconic films by like Peter Jackson, like Brain Dead or something like that, which has the gore and the violence and the horrorness to it, but it has an interesting, basically execution, or either it's just an interesting central idea. And this film didn't have either a central idea that worked or a concept that was actually good enough to grasp onto. That was my key problem, and it's like. And when I first saw it, I saw the horrible dub of it. And obviously, thankfully, Pat and with Alex Link shared me a better version of it in Japanese, which mildly helps it a bit better because it wasn't as cringe. But
you got to watch it. You got to watch the dub. The dub.
Watching the dub just makes it even more stupid.
Fuck you pick a shit film and then you're like, what's the worst version of it?
Yeah, it is. But I like. If Chris John was not here, I have to say it's foreign film round, right? It should be in its original Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Before you get started, sorry, I do just want to say, just as one little addition. I was fully expecting this because John scored this first and he scored it a 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here we go. Here's my chance. And I was like, I'm going to watch this and I'm going to fully fucking pretend that this is a cinematic masterpiece. And I'm just going to use this as a vehicle to get him to admit that objectivity in films exists. And by about the hour and a half mark, I went, I can't do this. I was like, this is not worth pretending to like.
When I saw yours and John's scores, because they were all 1s, part of me was going, I really, really want to like this, just to say that they're wrong. But yeah, it didn't work.
I also just wanted to say that Pat because Pat had an argument with John before watching this, and he threatened to like it out of spite, and within 25 minutes he'd given up on that too. So this film, Humphrey, is so shit. You caused me, Pat, and John to form a truce, and I don't think that's going to be replicated ever again.
Oh well, maybe.
Wow.
Sorry, Emmanuel's got his hand up, and then Simon, you can go for it.
So, to add on to something someone said before, I didn't want to finish this film. As soon as the head exploded, I was just like, I'm already done. I don't want to watch this. Yeah. I should have looked in the chat, but at the same time, it wouldn't have made a difference because I didn't know you guys found a subtitle version, but there were a lot of times I just couldn't be bothered to look at the screen or read properly. So I was actually glad to have the dub
Yes.
because I just did not care enough to be reading subtitles.
You didn't miss anything.
Exactly. The lines were dumb anyway. Like this guy, before this film, he made Machine Girl.
Yeah,
which
I was
is,
talking about this actually.
and they was like, oh, you want to make another film? He's like, yeah. So it's the production studios said, yeah, you can make another film. So he remade one of his films from before, some independent film, which was this. And it's his first commercial film, or I guess big commercial film. But it's like, dude, like, I'm sure you've already seen all the this before anyway, but the brothel scene, he got the idea when he was in a brothel in Thailand. He, not surprisingly, shot the film in 2 weeks. And one thing I was just like, okay, that makes sense. The fight scenes, obviously, like Simon was said, he wanted to be comedy mixed with dark gore, like a really dark film with just silliness and comedy in it to lighten it up. Because he thought, and he thought he didn't want it completely dark. So he got a fight choreographer who specifically does comedy fight choreography. Like he's done, I can't remember what else he's done, but he's done other comedic Japanese TV kind of fight comedic stuff.
Mm.
And that's why the fighting and stuff is like it is in the film. But yeah, just anyway.
I think the thing is like it comes back to what Ben was saying because like I mean it's yeah I mean I don't mind the story only existing for sort of like to facilitate like all the gore if that's the kind of thing that you want to make like that's fine, but none of it seemed at all relevant. It was just that like you had some gore and then more gore, and then every now and again it was like you had a cutscene that you just wanted to skip through, and it was just them saying like, oh, this is happening for this reason, and it's like, well, if you didn't say that, it wouldn't be. So I don't give a shit.
Right, go on, Simon. Have at it.
Well, okay, I'll wait. Give me a second. Essentially, isn't everything you guys have said is not wrong at all, and I actually agree with everything you've said. It's just that the point of the film is that it had no point. That's kind of the point, if you get what I mean. I don't know how to explain it better. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. It's just like the film, as I said, is a satire, right? It's a comedy, right? So you guys have to understand. It's like if you had this, because like you from the actors, because I realized who the actors were afterwards. But from the actors, you kind of knew that it was going to be a kind of bad comedy film because of who the actors were. Let me put it into perspective. Imagine if you had like supposedly, okay, let's use RoboCop for example, right? But instead of the actors, you had one of the actors you had were Kevin Hart, and you're like, I mean, like if Kevin Hart was in a RoboCop film, would you really expect it to be a proper like action film, or would you just expect it to be a comedy film? You know, because it's Kevin Hart. You know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
but the actors in it were still shit, regardless.
No. Absolutely. What you said is absolutely true. But it's because the actors are bad comedy actors. That's what I'm saying. Essentially the comedy that they do is bad comedy anyway. So it's fine. It's kind of the point.
it's Still bad though.
I think that's the thing.
sure.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I get the comedy element in like the commercials that were like interspersed, but I don't know. I find it hard to laugh at self-harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit.
Yeah, that was brutal. Because it wasn't
Oh,
once,
yeah.
it was like hundreds of times, wasn't it? It was constant.
Yeah.
Because I do think you're under the impression we think this is meant to be like an action thing done badly, or this is a horror done badly, or this is a sci-fi done badly. And I don't think any of us are under that impression. I think I might just be speaking for me here, but I think if this is a satire, it's satire's doing some fucking heavy lifting in a way that it's never done before.
I've got to say, some of the best bits are probably the stupidest bits. Like the fact that, like the finger, you know, he shoots the middle fingers out.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
And then the thing and then spins around, but it's really slow and it's like so stupid. Oh, and he's the fucking bit at the end where he sticks the things in his legs and he starts bleeding so much and he just flies around. I was like, I was kind of fatigued with how much fucking random bullshit was in it. I was just like,
Kind of fatigued.
what?
I was fatigued after 5 minutes.
The fucking blood.
Sorry, Emmanuel's got his hand.
Oh, sorry, Melania.
That's all right. And hey, Simon. Actually, yeah, to add on to your point, Simon, though, I didn't look at the actor list before. And yeah, with most of the acting cast, yeah. But the lead lady, she played in Audition.
Yeah.
Audition is not a crap film. It's a messed up
It
film.
was her.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I didn't realise it.
She
It's
was.
a-
Well, I
Reese
mean, like
Witherspoon all
actors
along.
have like good and bad films, Emmanuel. So it's like you can do like you can do really bad stuff, but like you could do really good stuff. Sorry, but like still be in bad films, right?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Patrick Stewart was in the Emoji Movie, right? So it's like let's not even start there.
I thought the Emoji Movie was actually good for its target audience, but we're not going to that.
God damn it,
That-
Emmanuel.
That's a fight for another day, I
That's
guess.
another film for another day.
Okay, sure, I guess.
But yeah, because like I think
Oh yeah,
I think
sorry.
no, sorry. Just to build off your point, I think the way Humphrey was saying things throughout the week, he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it is really gory," and it's like the whole point of the thing seems to be, look how gory we can make our scenes, and if you're completely fucking numb to it halfway through because they've just done it so much for no reason,
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
fucking point?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, you can say it's a satire, but like I don't get the point of the satire.
Well, I mean,
Right, so-
really?
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Go, Ben. Go, you do first. Go.
I think he just had flatulence.
I just burped.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
let
just-
me,
Excuse me.
oh, okay.
I'll just
Let me-
finish
let me
before I
talk
go
about
back on mute.
Yeah, go ahead.
one particular scene that you kind of knew that it was obviously a comedy. The scene where the guy gets his head blown off in the first 5 minutes, right? You are okay. You understand that scene, but then afterwards, because you've watched the film, you guys know. Oh right, yeah, it's because that guy was like owed that other guy money, and he came out from nowhere and shot the guy in the head, right? But then his head got shot off because of the police chief that was also standing there, then shot the guy's head. But it's like, obviously it's a comedy. It's because it's like, yeah, don't trust anyone, not even yourself. And it's like, oh no, it's like it repeats itself in the comedy. And it's like, oh right, yeah, that's obviously a comedy because it's just the scene is so outlandishly stupid. It's like, oh yeah, obviously it's a comedy. It doesn't matter. It can be stupid because it is stupid.
Do you know what? I'm not encouraging this, but I feel like you like this more than the 2.5. So
Yeah.
No. Okay. Like,
No, no.
Let's not go that
let's not
far.
get that far, right? Like, no. Because like the reason I gave the production because like I found all the prosthetics really fairly good, right? Because I found those because I thought someone took effort to make those prosthetics, and that's why I found that good,
I
right?
get that. Yeah.
But everything else was a bit, yeah, everything except mainly the prosthetics and like, yeah, no, that's about it. Everything else was shit. I'm agreeing with everyone else. I'm agreeing with all of you guys that it's not a great movie. It's complete dog shit, but it's funny. It's because it's kind of funny that you go, hey, look, the dog's taking a shit. Whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, the dog. Hey, look, the dog's taking a shit. And it's like, oh, okay, it's funny. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's one of those films that it's fun. It's like, it has its moments where it can be such great meme material. I will post that meme once I find it later, right?
I do not think this is worthy of
Meme
memeing. This is
Absolutely, it's
so.
You know
This-
that I will purposely in the future make memes being subjective or not, or objective or not, just with this movie. Somehow I will find a way to do it. Like, you know, in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. I'll find a way to make this fucking memeing.
So
Every now and again, Emmanuel looks at the camera and I can just hear his voice in the back of my head going, goodness.
No, this
Oh, fuck.
no, this I think this film is too try hard to be like memeable. I don't know. I think it's just when the guy comes out and he's got the fucking penis gun and they've just like lovingly rendered all the fucking, I don't know, like muscle folds of this penis gun. And he's like, yeah, you're aware that I've got a penis gun and it's actually like the length of my entire body. Isn't this great? And it's like,
but why?
why?
I guess the question is, why
I'm
not?
not questioning the effort you put into this. I'm questioning why you chose to put the effort into it.
Because he gets his dick cut off and he bleeds to death.
I
within 10
understand the
seconds.
chain of events.
10
Don't
sec-
worry.
That's what was getting me. It's like, oh my god, you'd be dead and he's still alive. Oh.
Yeah, but you're forgetting that this film ends with like a fight with one guy
Yeah.
like launching
that's
into the air by his own blood.
But the
Like he
thing
can
was
suspend
that
himself in the air by the jets of blood coming out of his legs, and
I
he
know.
fights
it's
her.
because I've never seen it before and I'd only seen that bit and I'm just like, that's a bit stupid. And
That's a
then I
bit
get to the end of it and I'm just like, I'm
A
done.
bit.
I'm done. Just this
There
fucking,
was. Oh, sorry.
it just kept outdoing itself on ridiculousness. And then that end bit where he just goes, "Ugh," and it starts bleeding, and it's like, oh fuck, I'm done. That's
I
it.
must admit, there was one bit that I did kind of like, and it's I don't know, I just like the thought behind it, and it's part of why I gave Story 1.5. It's just because I thought,
Oh, is this your
somebody's-
favorite scene?
yeah, it might as well be. I don't think
No,
I've got
okay.
another. Yeah, no, so it's part of the reason that I gave it 1.5 for Story, because I was just laying in bed thinking somebody's thought of that. And it's just that, because you know, you've got kind of like the concept is that you can grow weapons out of limbs. And then somebody just turns up with a fucking Stanley knife. That's the only time that I laughed, because I was like, a fucking Stanley knife.
It's the prostitute girl, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking.
But yeah, that'd have to be my favourite scene, because I don't think I've got another that I looked upon fondly.
I think my favorite scene was the rocket jump, because that was the first time I like had excitement for the film, and then it was also the last time I had excitement for the film.
So that's two favourite scenes where they're favourite scenes by default, because we've got no other option.
That was the happiest I was. I like like chuckled at the bit where she cut the top of his head off and he grew Blastoise cannons out of his face.
That was pretty hilarious, right?
He was shooting stuff at her, and I kind of chuckled at that bit, but it wasn't half as good as the bazooka jump. But fuck me, it really, really outstayed its welcome after that.
I think the thing that I like about favourite scenes this week is it's forcing us to be kind of positive about it, and I can just see Pat growing angrier and angrier.
God. But like it was the fucking. I think it was when like the weird scientist guy comes out and he's got this fucking Gatling gun, and in it is there's just a bunch of fists. And I just went to go like, why didn't you just use a gut? Fuck it. Just use a normal gun. It'll be more of doesn't matter. Fuck it.
Where they turn into middle fingers, right, and they start fucking like piercing the person, right?
Yeah.
And they go around the stick. It's really slow as well. It's like,
I kind of like preferred that if this was an anime, it could have been extra gory or it would have been extra stupid. But like, I digress.
It is basically an anime.
First, like, favorite scene is definitely, as I was saying before, about the scene where everyone is getting their head shot or anything, because it could go on forever, right? Because it's like the police officer's there, he gets his head shot, the assassin gets his head shot, the police chief could suddenly have someone shoots his head off, and it could go on indefinitely because of the way that the comedy is written, right? It could go on for ages. That's definitely like a structure of comedy, because it's just like it's in freeze, right? It's like first time it happens, it's like, oh, second time it happens, it's like, okay, that's a bit. Third time it happens, it's funny. It's just funny. It's always gonna be funny because it's just randomly three people just getting their head shot off, right?
I'm really looking forward to your bad movies after this, Simon, because I'm really enjoying you defending it.
Okay, like
when we saw your score, I was like, I didn't think I was gonna have a fucking fight with someone over a score of 2.5, but we're doing it.
It's okay. As a tangent, the movies I chose in the future aren't necessarily bad, except for maybe two. But like they're like they can be bad because like they might make you go, oh, that's disgusting and grim, or they could be bad because of like, oh my god, the production value of this is absolute shit. So it's like those are the sort of like films I would choose in the future. But like you'll see them when I choose them. You'll see that's a problem for future film club.
No, it's not a problem, man. My enthusiasm is high.
This is when he shows up and he's like, I'm gonna pick Antichrist, and we're like, no. We've done that one. Yeah, you can see Simon deleting it off his list.
All right. Humphrey, what was your favourite scene? Because you chose this film. What was your favourite scene?
This will be a good one.
This is gonna make me fucking sad, isn't it?
It was the bit with the square.
It was the baby chair. No. I'd say it's probably the bit where the bloke gets his hands cut off, and you get all the blood go up, and then she just pulls out her umbrella. I thought that was probably.
Fucking hell! What a chair.
That was about it. That was the most artsy kind of. If I can say artsy in this film, like
artsy joint satire for heavy lifting done.
Yeah, but yeah, there was a few moments so I was just like, what the fuck. But yeah, definitely, that is probably the I won't say standout bit, but I was like, oh, that looks quite cool, and then that was about it. Yeah. Pat, what's your favourite scene? Your favourite scene, Pat?
The only bit that I enjoyed was
so
the head blowing up in the beginning.
Oh.
I laughed quite a bit at that, and then it was all downhill from there.
I really, really wanted you to just unmute. and then mute again.
Like when the head blew up, I was like, oh, this could be something. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, nah, they just burped.
They just burped.
Yeah, but that's it. That's literally the only thing I can find I remotely liked outside of the end credits where I could actually turn the thing off.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm not going to fight you on that.
Okay.
And as a person that doesn't watch the end credit scenes, I was less inclined to in this one.
Fair enough. I mean, after the end credit scenes, you guys know that there's a chance that they said they could make a sequel, right?
Yeah, because basically the bloke with the cannon eyes, the woman puts his head back on and he becomes normal again.
So there's a chance that I might choose Tokyo Gore Police 2.
Oh,
I think Tokyo Gore Police 2. Well, from what I was reading, apparently there's a spiritual successor, and it's Machine Girl, semicolon, Rise of the Machine Girl.
Yeah, and then the third one, Tokyo Gore Police, Tokyo Drift.
You know what it is? It's just
I could just see Emmanuel just like shaking his head. All right, Emmanuel, what was your favorite scene, if you can?
If the scene,
I don't have one.
No.
Like, if I would take the piss to say the credits, but since I have to pick something, the least egregious scene.
least egregious.
Least egregious. Oh, that's a brilliant section.
Bring on the LES.
For me was the moment when early on in the film, the main actress, the bar lady, like, does she look at her hand or hold her hand or something? And then she goes back in the past and flashback and remembers, oh, this lady helped me out. I mean, it's a crap scene, but it like had a false sense of, oh, this film might not just be trash gore, but it was.
But you mean the fake cheesy wholesome scene?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Where she like orders the orange juice, and she's like, "Thank you for taking care of me in the past, madam." It's like, yeah. Oh, you're always like a daughter to me. That sort of scene, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's
But,
like.
yeah, it's just like, oh, this is a normal kind of thing. She's just going to a bar with the lady who's, looked after her and known her since a kid. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. They were all thrown together. Then afterwards, that bar hostess lady was drawn apart.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
That was trash.
Yeah.
You actually reminded me. My favourite scene isn't the bit with the hand chopping. It's the bit where she gets the bottle, stabs it in his face, pulls his face off, and he goes, "Floop." I was like, what the fuck? That was probably the bit that made me laugh the most. I can't wait. Just that noise. Floop.
Oh fuck! Actually, I just remembered another scene that made me laugh, and I completely blocked it out of my memory. But it's when she's self-harming.
One.
What? I think Simon's frozen.
Yeah.
Oh wait, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I was going to say, Alex, say a bit.
No, it's the bit when she's self-harming.
Oh, right. Because like everyone else is frozen for me instead.
Oh.
I'll wait.
Oh wait. Yeah, I'll go. I can hear you. Don't worry.
Feels weird that it's not me breaking up.
Right, Alex, say your bit.
It's when she's self-harming and there's like all just fucking weird bits just coming off of her and it just keeps cutting back to her self-harming and then it's like a nose comes off and then like a tooth comes off and then it's like an eyeball comes off and I was like, what are you doing? This is it was really fucking making me it was making me laugh. I've probably misremembered that completely, but I don't care to go back and correct myself.
Right, man, I don't think anyone's going to challenge you on it.
Ben, what's your favourite scene, if you've got one?
One memorable scene is like, I suppose.
I will not go as far as favourite. I will say the one I remember.
I love that we've got like 2 new segments tonight. We've gone from the favourite scene to the least egregious scene and the most memorable scene.
What's the name of that character? Was like the guy that looked like he had the samurai outfit, basically the main.
The police chief.
The police chief, yeah, and she has to confront him in the final act, and then he says, "Is this the end?" And then it just cuts back and like that. And then I was like, "Oh, I hope it was the end." But then there was another 15 minutes.
I love that your favourite scene was a feeling of relief that it might be over.
It was just like paused for a moment, and it's like yes, and there's like yes, she's going to kill him, and that's the end of the film. But no, the battle continued.
With the stream of blood, yes.
Oh, no.
Go on, Emmanuel.
Oh Jesus.
So, to lead up to it, so the Harakiri part, I was just like, oh, that's good that he's saying like it's not worth your life. I mean, it's a trash film, but that's nice that he's put that in there. And then afterwards, I was so confused, and it annoyed me even more that was in it, because after that, he then had the wrist cutters part, and that actually really pissed me off because it felt like it crossed the line and it was mocking people who actually are seriously like doing that or thinking about, you know, harming themselves or taking their lives. It's like, oh, you just basically had a positive message about not doing this in this comedic, crazy film, which I thought was good. And that was actually, the thing is, it was almost funny, but it was also not funny, but I thought it was a good message. And then, the risk, I was like, you're doing it again and again. This isn't a funny subject. This isn't, like, this, to me, that crosses the line. Just like, dude, no. You can do a lot of mess, but why are you doing that?
I would say, Emmanuel, you're right, because like the subject in itself is not it's not funny, right? It's not really funny of suicide and stuff and self-harming, like in actual like real life.
Funny. It's not really
funny. But because of that particular world that it's fucking hell, Alec, Jesus Christ. But the point is that it's that particular world.
I was quoting you.
It's not. Oh, what did you just say?
I said I was quoting you. That's what you said. You went, "It's not funny,"
You were?
and then you went, "It's not really funny."
Oh, sorry. I guess you must have glitched out for me. Sorry. But the point is that it's not funny in itself, right? But it's a thing that they do in that particular world because, like, you know, the police have been privatized. Everything else is like overly capitalist. And like, again, this is like, again, a satire of all those sort of images. You know, it's like, no, don't kill yourself because we need people to still work. You know, but like self-harming can look fun because it's colorful with young girls with like the toys and stuff, right? But like it's a gross message. But because that world is gross, you get what I mean?
But this is the thing. There were so many ways to kind of put it this way. I had no problem with the scene where the mother was doing that to herself, because obviously, like you said, it's a messed up world. But yeah, literally everything else in the film was messed up. It's like whatever, just done it because they could, cool. But that in the kind of weird, like you said, it. I wasn't sure if it was blackface, but it didn't look right. But it just looked weird, and it was just out of place. But I'm not going to get into that because I was just like, I don't know what to make of that. But
Okay.
this was like the one scene I was just like, you went too far. Like it's not to me, the subject matter is something someone should make a joke of. Like it's one thing to have it in a satire. It's kind of like the difference of having someone accidentally slice their wrist and then it ends up being a funny scene because it's just like, oh, at least I'm not dead. Worse things could have happened or whatever. Like the rest of the film, but to kind of make a joke of it and do it again and again and again, I'm just like, I I I I think it's in bad taste.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
especially in I get in the country, like obviously in Japan, we know how bad it can get, but and maybe because people are so desensitized to it there, for it to kind of come across, he has to do it that many times because maybe a foreign audience feels differently. But I'm just like, that wasn't needed. Like this affects so many people in your country, and you're making a joke out of it.
I mean, that's why everyone else gave it ones. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. It's not great, but like it's there, and yeah, it's part of the film. But like I didn't give like I gave ones where it deserved ones, like the purpose and the impact of the like maybe I didn't give impact one. Maybe I should
Oh
change
yeah, I don't mean your score in particular. I just mean like with any director, like as messed up as your film or crazy as it can be, I think there's some lines that just shouldn't be crossed. And that's the
Okay.
only thing in this film I thought shouldn't have been attempted. Everything else is like, oh, cool. This is what you want to do. I don't want to watch it, but it's what you want to do.
Yeah, it does kind of make. I was thinking like, oh, because it is clearly sort of. I think that is kind of the closest it gets to satire, where it's like, oh yeah, here's your self-harm razor. It comes in like 3 different colors, and it's like, yeah, I can kind of see how that's constructed and how it's supposed to be, but it's kind of like, if self-harm is like such a big thing in Japan and like just in that culture, it's like how does that fucking feel if you're suffering from that and you see it, you see like that kind of parody of it, like really, really badly misjudged there.
Yeah, going on top of that particular line of thought, because it was a part of a TV ad, then I feel about the 2 other films that I can think of, one being the RoboCop one and the other one being Starship Troopers. Like seeing those ads again, it's kind of like, I guess it can only be described as satire because of like those things. Like, when you watch, what was it? Like Starship Troopers join the mobile infantry. It's kind of like a weird advertisement for it. But then afterwards you have things like in RoboCop where they have like, what is it? Because of the ozone layer has been destroyed, they have the SPF 300 like sunscreen and all that stuff. And it's like, all right, it's making fun. Is it like making fun of like the world that it is now, or is it? I mean, like it's making fun of the world that it is now or in the future, right? But it's like a gross version of it, and I guess as Emmanuel was saying, it's probably too gross, or yeah, as he says, a line too far in that particular grossness.
I think also, I don't know if, because from a review I was watching, they said about this has got like what's it called? There's like a film kind of not franchise, but there's like a culture, but it's called like Tokyo splatter films or something, like B movies and stuff, and it's like there's people that make these films, and they've made this kind of film for the people that kind of watch them films. So so some people, like as the manual said, it's like bad taste, shouldn't be done. But then in some scene, like in some circles, that kind of humor is somewhat acceptable, or they think it's okay, because it's like some of the, like as I said before with like the blackface stuff. That was the bit that kind of I found a bit jarring, because it didn't really need to be there, even though the whole film is completely bad taste anyway. But it's kind of, I feel like this is made for a certain audience that watch these type of films, and yeah, I don't know, it's yeah.
Oh, I think I got the idea of what sort of thing is. You guys know who Mel Brooks is, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that this sort of comedy is kind of Mel Brooks-ish? There's like a certain style of comedy that's
no, because Mel Brooks is funny.
Okay, but does it have certain parts of it that has bad taste?
Not in this way.
Okay, fair enough.
I do see what you're saying, but I think the difference between this and something like a Mel Brooks film is that I feel like with Mel Brooks you can kind of give it the benefit of the doubt, and when something is in bad taste, I think he's usually trying to poke fun at sort of the absurdity of it rather than what it is. Whereas I feel like the humor in this with the self-harming stuff, like I don't know, it's just I think even if you are trying to poke fun at the absurdity of it, it's not good. It is.
Or you could say it could have been done better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I think what they needed was just somebody kind of like tapping them on the shoulder every now and again and being like, "That's a bit too much." Like just reel that in a bit. And,
I could see Anne behind the camera going like, "Oh, if people get offended at this, then well, that's on them." And it's like,
I'm cutting all the offended people out of my life.
Yeah,
this is gonna really, really offend people, wouldn't it?
I feel that this film has it doesn't have like the nuance or the cleverness or the witty self-awareness that Mel Brooks film would have, because he's always like, as much as he pokes fun at something, he's always kind of like got a kind of sly tongue-in-cheekness about it, and this film didn't have that at all.
Well, you look at something like Blazing Saddles, where like you have people just fucking running, like just the N word appears like fucking 45 times a minute, and like that's not the joke of the film. The joke of the film is like, these people fucking suck, and it's like you're not supposed to be kind of
rooting for them,
laughing with them. You're meant to be laughing at them.
Yeah. So would you say that, going back to Tokyo Gore Police, if there was like another character who was in the film going, "This doesn't make sense at all," you would probably find the film funnier?
Yeah, I mean, they're the because like I said, like the one bit that I could think you could point to as satire is like get your self-harm razor in 3 different colors.
Mm.
And it's like, yeah, that's fucked up. But the I don't know. It seems to be kind of pointed at people who self-harm.
Yeah, I think it needed to be a bit. Sorry, Simon, you can go ahead.
No, I was saying. So you're saying that the level of self-awareness wasn't high enough, essentially.
Yeah, if you're gonna make the claim that this is satire, I think this needs to kind of be a bit more, self-aware. Because it's like I think you could kind of make the argument that it's like, no, it's poking fun at capitalism and how like it will commodify things like self-harm and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I don't know how much this film is aware of that though. It seems to be kind of taking the piss more out of, you'll buy this, won't you? You self-harming idiot.
I can't disagree with you on that point, I guess, because like I feel like I understood it as it was in itself was making the comedy of being self-aware, but like if not everyone else can see it, maybe that's a problem in itself. But so yeah, I agree with you that go on.
Yeah, I think the thing is it's like it's kind of the same reason that I don't like sort of Jimmy Carr and sort of Frankie Boyle, is that I think if you're poking fun at someone or if you're poking fun at a group, it's only really funny if they're laughing as well. And I think if you were someone who self-harmed was watching this, I'm not sure they'd be laughing at that. So to me, it just stops being funny at that.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I was going to say that this film has got more in common with films like, Machete and Turbo with Shotgun, but it doesn't go far enough into their like realm of like, this is idiotic, but we're going to have fun with this. It like Turbo with Shotgun, for example, knows what kind of film it is, just because the actor kind of like has this like wink at the camera kind of thing about his performance. And in Machete is like, there's always something in the dialogue that kind of pokes fun at the situation, as that Machete don't tweet and all that stuff. And it's so stupid.
Okay. It's like Danny Trejo's in the room.
Yeah, it's just constantly funny because of how fish out of water he is, and the sort of like how he. Well, it's not so much that, maybe that's the wrong way of playing it, but it's the absurdity in the situation, and kind of like either the character has to be totally deadpan, or they kind of have to be kind of like leaning into it. It's a strange balance that makes it's hard to explain, but those films have it, and this film doesn't have it. If that's
even just like time to absorb what's going on, like because this has sort of like an absurdist kind of slant to it, but I'm kind of like, which is something that I said about Blues Brothers, and I'm like, why does Blues Brothers work, but why is this such a fucking failure? And it's like Blues Brothers is set, like every scene it's setting up the joke, and in between, like, and then it always builds, and then it builds with they make an enemy, and then the enemy joins the fleet of enemies all chasing them. And then that's kind of all coming toward the big payoff of the movie. But it's like it's not just they make an enemy every fucking scene. It's there's a setup, and there's the setup kind of plays out, and then it leads to that, and it's. I don't know, if you just, I don't know, 2 hours of just fucking gore. It's like, fuck me. You got to stop. You got to like let it sink in. You got to have characters just kind of going along, let the audience kind of soak it in, and then we set it up, and not just not this constant fucking input. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Thanks, man.
What I would have liked, not that the director wanted to make this kind of film, because I'm not against gore, especially well done gore. But if I'll let Simon explain it better because you could probably explain this better. But if he went for more of a live action Tokyo Ghoul type situation, so it's a serious, a good story, great characters, but you still have that messed up body gore, that would be great. I I I like a good story. You put some hard gore in there. That's a freaking amazing. That's great.
Well,
Oh,
I mean, if Tokyo Ghoul, sorry, had Tokyo Gore police level of like effects, I would be sorely disappointed, right? Because Tokyo Ghoul is like a great anime. But like, I understand what Emmanuel is trying to say. A story, they can have a story that's gory and a bit messed up, but still be interesting and intriguing. But that's the reason. But why Tokyo Ghoul works is because it's actually a super good story. That's like worth a 10, unlike Tokyo Ghoul Police, which is like it kind of has a story, which is worth a 2. It's like I kind of follow the story of Tokyo Ghoul Police. It's like, oh, it's this revenge story with porn. I don't know. I don't get it right, but it's like it's got a story there, kind of. It's just
sorry.
No, go on,
So, I'd kind of go the opposite way a little bit. I mean, obviously, like a better story is never going to be a bad thing, but like going back to what Ben said about Hobo with a shotgun, like the story in Hobo with a Shotgun is basically just that a homeless guy is pissed off with a crime lord. Like there's not much more to it, but it facilitates him just getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and you're just on this journey with him where he just constantly just does more and more outlandish stuff. And I just remember it being such a good experience because we were all sat in my front room watching it and going like, what the fuck, this is crazy. And
no.
you don't need much of a story to facilitate that if that's the kind of film that you want to make. And like that's fine. But I think where Tokyo Gore Police fell down a bit is that they did want to make that kind of film. But for some reason, you've got this outlandish thing about how everybody's got a key-shaped tumor and everyone can grow like weapons from their limbs, and at the same time the police are privatized, and it's just like, what are you trying to do? Like I have no idea what's going on.
So you're
like,
saying that
none of this is like it's all in service of the gore, but none of it's actually in service of the gore. Like you've tried to make a film where that's the case, but it's just so convoluted. I just don't get it.
Well, shit. Like if you compare it to something like Tucker and Dale, where like you have the funny gory stuff, but like it was all set up and it's all stuff that like you could kind of half believe it, but like it is funny because it's not doing it every 3 seconds.
Yeah, but it's actually quite a clever film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how it's your pick and you're like, well, the difference is intelligence.
The difference is it wasn't made by stupid people.
Wow. As I said, I didn't pick it for quality. I picked it because it's a mess.
Did you literally see it like on a list of body horrors and you were like, that's the one?
I was actually trying to find the video that I watched, and I don't know if it was to do. I think it was on what culture, if you know what culture, and yeah, they've got one video where it says about the top 10 or another 10 body horror, but I can't find the top 10 ones. So I don't know if the video's been removed or not, or I couldn't find it. But yeah, I just remember seeing it thinking, what the fuck is this? Like it just it stuck with me in this video, and I was just like, okay. And then after we said about we got foreign film round, I'm like, oh, that film's really disgusting. And I'm gonna pick that because.
Well, does this work as your segue, Rob? Because you wanted to talk about why it's so fucking well received.
Yeah, I suppose it does a bit actually. Like something that I'm completely baffled by is if you look online, it's presented as like quite a well put together film. Like it's got a decent score on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah,
and it's got something like 3.7 on Letterboxd. And Letterboxd is usually a pretty good barometer. Like the people who use Letterboxd tend to be kind of like people who sort of give films a fair shake, and I think the ratings on there tend to be fairly in line with what a film's worth. And I don't understand what people are seeing in this that we're not.
I was so confused. It doesn't matter like at what point in time I saw this film. I would have thought the same thing. I'm just like, it's literally a film doing the most, like you've all said, like seeing how far he could go. And he was literally just throwing ideas at the wall. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can do this. How can I make it more crazy? Yeah, let's put this scene in. Let's do this. I'm just like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not exactly a fan of all. I mean, there would at least what I would say. At least there was balance in terms of violence against both sexes.
Yeah.
I mean, for a bit,
right, I guess.
For a bit of time, I was like, I mean, there's still a bit too. It felt like a bit too much violence against women, and I still think there was more women than men. But I was like, you know what? This is just whatever. This guy's just trying to throw crap at the wall and see if it sticks.
So again, I feel like this whole chat about this movie was essentially we needed one extra person, be it a producer or another actor or character in this whole production. You go, chill the fuck out, mate. Jesus Christ.
I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking about what you could compare it to, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like Mad Max. Was it Mad Max?
Or Mad
You're already
Runner.
giving this a lot of credit.
Wait.
Yeah, Mad Max is a
Blade
good
Runner
film, man. Which one is
on crack? Because you got like the dystopian future kind of vibe. You've got the kind of crazy kind of apocalyptic vibe, and then you got the crack aspect where people, it's just so fucking absurd.
Jittery.
But yeah, one of the reviews I was watching, the bloke was like, so I don't know what they were smoking when they thought that.
Yeah, but Mad Max was good. Oh, okay. At least it's good. I'm talking about the original. I'm not talking about the original. I'm talking about Fury Road, because the production and the quality of everything was great. Oh, come on now. You got to say that. It looks pretty. It looked pretty, right?
What, Tokyo Gore Police?
No,
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, why are you comparing them?
No, they were literally saying he's comparing it to Mad Max, which I'm saying is a good film compared to this shit.
Yeah, every Mad Max film, even the bad Mad Max films are better.
Mad Max.
Yeah, bad Mad Max. Blah blah.
Bad Mad Max.
No, I was saying that Mad Max is amazing. It's a masterpiece compared to. Well, I mean, it's a masterpiece anyways, not just compared to this shit.
The thing is, it has got them themes, and if they would have actually thought about it a bit more, they could have had an interesting film, but they didn't. They didn't really think at all. They just went, "Oh, we're gonna have a giant cock gun, and we're gonna have a snail lady and a lady that's a chair.
We're gonna have a bit with crocodile lady."
Oh yeah, fucking.
Yeah, she bites his hand while he's got a fucking Uzi in it, but she chomps it off, and then he's got a fucking string poking out of it, and he's I know what I must do. And then he pulls the string to make his finger fucking engage. This is retarded.
Well, no, that was supposed to be his tendon in his arm.
I know it was supposed to be. It was retarded.
The thing that got me with that bit was the fact that he'd used all the bullets up in the gun, and then he still had one more bullet to shoot. And I was like,
oh, right, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He does. He shoots all the bullets. And then that bit happened, I was just like, hey, he didn't have any bullets.
Let me read you what I thought was the most offensive review that I could find.
The most offensive.
Wait,
So it
where's it
says-
from?
Oh, so this is on Letterboxd,
Okay.
and by a guy named Raphael. So he said, less of a feature film and more of an exercise in visual effects and practical makeup. From what I read doing some research on the film, Nishimura is often put on the same level as Tom Savini for his incredible special makeup work, and watching this film is no mystery as to why. Tom Savini is the guy who did The Exorcist.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
He's done a lot of films as well.
Good going.
Friday the 13th. Well,
Tom Savini.
He's in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's actually
Pioneered fucking visual effects that are still used today. Fucking, I don't know, 1980, what was
1973.
it? 1973. He pioneered fucking VFX materials that were going to get used fucking 50 years in the future compared to fucking crocodile butt. Fuck off. How fucking dare you?
Another thing that not that surprising, and it's a small thing. It's pretty minor, but one of the things that made it worse, and of course at this point I was just picking things because I wasn't having a good time anyway. It's that you know how you've done media studies and you start to see films differently sometimes, or you just start analyzing films without trying to analyze the film. And then I started realizing, I'm just like, wait a minute. Almost all of this guy's camera angles suck. His shots. Who was his like video producer? Who allowed this? Like there were certain scenes, there were certain locations. Like there was one really cool lit. So the lighting person, I thought they were okay. There was one scene where it was like a kind of really dark corridor where the main character is dressed up like a kind of prostitute and she's being chased, or kind of chased very slowly. And there's a dark kind of alleyway with steps down and lighting. That's like, oh, nice kind of set design, cheaply done, but it's good, it works. And then there's a camera, I'm like, why are you shooting from there? I was just like, you know what, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm thinking about this stuff. But if there was a better kind of video person on it, I know it was satire, so it wasn't meant to be a comedy. It's not meant to be a good film, but you can have a comedy film shot really well.
It's great.
Huh?
Because Emmanuel, it matters to you. That's what's important. It matters to you, and it made you angry and made you talk about this film. That's what we needed, or at least that's what this whole fucking situation is.
Yeah, but basically, I thought they could have showed off the gore in the scenes and stuff better. Basically, it was just shot so poorly. It could have looked better, but it looked worse because it was shot bad.
So much of that just jittery effect where they have to make something that looks a bit shit look scarier. So it just has things going like, and I'm like, I know what you're fucking doing. It's not hard. I could fucking do it. Like, oh, I hate it.
It's kind of like one of you was saying about you could see all the hoses. It's just like, what was the editor doing? Just cut away. I'm sure you have they probably didn't have another shot. I forgot they shot it in 2 weeks. You know what?
That's true, actually, yeah.
Let me just stop.
They had. I was saying during the week, I was like, they had access to, at best, effects that like Red Dwarf would go out of their way to like keep in darkness. And it's like, it's comparable to fucking low budget BBC comedy effects.
I'll admit, there was a scene where there was a person with a circular saw cutting the fingers off. I can't remember who it was. And like those you could tell it's like a fucking like rubber like glove, right? And you could see just like the plastic flicking off, and I was like cracking up at that a bit, right? I know it shouldn't be, right? But it's like it was quite funny. But it's just like it's good.
It's as charitable as possible. This is a film to showcase visual effects, and it's like also your visual effects are shit. They're just shit.
The makeup was okay, I guess.
No, it wasn't.
Actually, the makeup was actually good. The main lady's makeup was on point the whole way through the film.
Yeah, because she's the main character. She has to look perfect because she's main character laws, you know, with that weird like one eye and the alien alien tentacle arm. Yeah, alien tentacle arm. Let's call it.
I don't really get why she gets a fucking crocodile hand.
Alien tentacle arm. It's the xenomorph arm.
I think at one point I missed it, but she gets her. I think she gets her hand chopped off or something. Because they only develop weapons or develop something when they get injured. I don't remember seeing her arm or hand get injured. I only obviously remember her eye, but
wasn't it when she was fighting the schoolgirl thing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably then.
I mean, like, all admittedly, this film, I said when we was talking about this beforehand, blends together in like a horrible primordial soup, right? And you can't quite tell which particular scene is what.
You mean it does make any fucking sense?
Yeah, it's like that scene. Which scene? You know, that scene? Oh, right. That scene.
Like the
Simon, if I ever get a screenplay produced, I want you to write the synopsis.
Like
I will try. I'll try my best.
Because like with the adverts are really jarring because they just cut in, and it's like with that fight scene where the girl with the Stanley blade arm. It just doesn't make any sense because it just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, who are these people? You forget who the fucking people are in the. Because it was only until I watched the review of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the prostitute girl having a fight with the woman. But you don't actually know who the fucking woman is with the big glaive. And it's just so fucking confusing.
I think that's the point of it. He kept
making sense.
No, he wanted it to be very chaotic. So he kept editing it in a way that it just kept jumping around. Nothing kind of neatly led on to anything else. It was hard to follow it. It was just chaos, but he wanted that. So
like, are you talking like cuts when filming? Like, because we can talk about that quadriplegic like dog lady with the sort of doing the break card scene. That particular fight scene had lots of fucking cuts in that fucking film. Oh, it's like,
oh man,
wait,
I
what's happening here?
I just mean how the film was structured, basically.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's just very disjointed, but it was on purpose. It wasn't an accident. It's just, yeah.
Oh, you said about the special effects. The bit where she gets thrown against the table, you can clearly see it's a doll or a mannequin.
Yeah.
It's just, it hits it so hard that it just goes flat. It doesn't bend or anything. It just goes, falls over. Yeah. The standout scene is definitely the middle finger. And it's kind of doing this.
That annoyed me. I was just like, this is so dumb. There are better ways to deflect a middle finger. But then at the end of the day, I was like, who cares?
But it's at that point where once you hit that point of the movie, you go, well, you might as well finish it. Again, we're already here.
As I said,
I still didn't want to finish it. 20 minutes left. I wanted to cut it off.
You were there already.
I did not care.
No,
The whole way through this.
In the spirit of this film club, it's like you gotta finish the movie. Or when I make my bad movie choices, everyone's gonna hate me. I want to go watch the first 10 minutes and go, Simon, what the fuck was this?
Actually, you say about not finishing films, but I remember when it was one of the first films we watched, or not first, but it was the Fall, and I remember watching that, and I remember getting to a point where I'm just like, I can't watch this anymore. It's just so fucking shit. I just hated it so much. So I'm just like, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna watch it. And then when it finished, I was like, I just wasted it felt like 3 hours or 4 hours of my life because it just went on and on and on. But,
speaking of finishing, I think this film has finished Alec off.
Yeah, I have achieved the pinnacle. I've picked the most disgusting film that we've all seen, and I made Alec fall asleep.
Oh man, I'm saddened that John is sick and not here to discuss this with me. I feel like we could have probably broke like 3 hours with this film.
I was looking forward to John's on video, his opinions.
It's the second time it's happened because John and Alec have had a bit of a spat, and then the next call he was too unwell to come on, and now we got this one where he was so visibly offended by the film.
Visibly offended.
So great. I was
going to say that I feel like our film chat has become the Truman Show now. We're watching Alex sleep.
And I am going to head off now as well because I am fucking knackered.
All right. Before we finish.
Yeah, Rob's film.
Who's next?
Rob.
Yeah, it's me, yeah.
What is your film?
So, there's a bit of a story behind this. Because I was originally going to do an Italian film. I was going to do my favourite Italian film, Goodfellas. No, it's not.
It's not even Italian.
I was going to do Cinema Paradiso.
Don't try that shit. Don't you try that shit.
No, I was going to do Cinema Paradiso, but the problem was I wanted to pick the director's cut, but it's not streaming anywhere, and I couldn't find it to download either. So I started thinking about what else I could do, and given that the last two films have been like pretty rough experiences,
really,
and I know the two films that we've got coming up from Ben and Alec, like they're not the most cheery of films either.
Oh, God.
So I thought I need to break this up a bit. So I've gone with something that I think, if nothing else, we can at least have a bit of a laugh with. And it's our first film from Hong Kong, and it's Jackie Chan's Police Story.
Nice.
Thank God.
So yeah, I'm quite excited for this one.
Oh wait, sorry.
Was it playing, Rob?
Wait. Rob, just a quick question. You're not doing the remake, are you?
No. The original, 1985.
Okay.
And I think it's only streaming on Amazon.
I fucking love Jackie.
Fine.
I watched it the other day to make sure that I wanted to pick it, and I was like, you know what? Some of this hasn't aged well, but I fucking love it still. So
I mean, like, there's several films. I feel like having this discussion now. Oh well, yeah. We'll save this discussion for afterwards, I guess.
Yeah.
Post film chat.
Yeah.